But Sharon is just the most humble, down-to-earth lady, and we're just honoured to have her here tonight to share her journey with us. So let's give her a warm.
Well, I haven't had an introduction like that before. It's quite amazing. Okay, now I've brought this because of my age, I have dementia, but I may not need it. It will be there just in case. Where do I start? I start at a very strange place. I'm an unlikely skincare formulator. I never ever intended to make skincare. I thought it was the most ludicrous idea ever. I was a beauty therapist, and I trained as a mature student at the ripe old age of 28. So most of the people in the class were 17, 18 and 19. So that was already, my approach was different to everybody else's, and I was often singled out by the person who owned the beauty college because I was being difficult, because I had different standards. So yeah, when I went out to do my thing, I didn't last very long in my first salon either, because I was told very, very quickly that when someone's eyelash tint was on, I shouldn't stay and massage their scalp or hands and make them feel at ease or comfortable, because the other girls were all going out on a ciggy break, and it didn't look good if everybody wanted to come to me for a lash tint because I gave them something extra, and I figured that wasn't actually something extra. And why would you nip out for a fag like halfway through? That was ludicrous to me. And then, so that was my norm. So off I went to do my own thing. Within a year, a woman came to me and said, Sharon, I don't know what I'm going to do. I've been admitted to hospital with a cosmetic burn. I can't go out. She came to see me at night time. Her skin looked horrendous. And I said, what on earth have you done? And she said, oh, I used a new product. And my sister had to take me to hospital. I had a really nasty reaction, but my dermatologist a week later said, that's okay, just stop using everything and just use sorbeline cream from the chemist. Used it that night, and my sister had to call her again and say, my eyes are closing up, my skin is burning off my face, come and get me. And she drove her to the Royal North Shore again. Same thing, even more intense this time, cosmetic burn. The great thing is the difference between sorbeline cream, that's mineral oil, a petrochemical, and water, an emulsifier to make it a cream and a preservative, versus most of the commercial skincare that might have 25 or 35 ingredients. At the end of the day, there are similar water and oil emulsion, but the great thing about sorbeline is the only key oil in there is mineral oil. And so they worked out through analysing everything that she'd had a petrochemical sensitivity. That was me then, on a mission to find her a petrochemical-free skincare product, which I thought was easy because I worked with brands I thought were natural. And I contacted them all, and most of them got back to me and said, no, I'm sorry, everything contains petrochemicals. I was shocked. I was a traditional beauty therapist, and I thought all the product knowledge training I'd ever had must be true. And I didn't realise that what they talked about as the wonderful ingredients was the bottom 2 to 5%. So all the rest of it was a whole load of filler. Now I am today, and I always tell people, I'm in the business of skin health. That's the main thing that I do, skin. I treat people, I work closely with naturopaths, nutritionists, holistic GPs as well, and a doctor of environmental medicine. So I moved into sensitivity because of my formulations. But honestly, that one cream that I was forced to make for this woman, Pamela, I went to that weekend workshop kicking and screaming because I was a cosmetic snob. I loved all the big brands from Paris. What was little old me in Cameroon, Sydney? Who was going to use my cream apart from this one woman who was desperate? And within 6 months, not only was everyone using it, all the women in my mother's group were buying it for their kids, and I just didn't have enough time in the day to keep making this cream. So that was how I ended up. A neighbour loaned me $5,000 to buy some bottles and labels, and that was the beginning of MV. And a friend of a friend who knew a really well-known beauty editor got me to go and see her for coffee. And she said after about half an hour, just got to tell you, Sharon, I think you're wasting your time. There's pretty much no chance you're going to survive this industry. You don't have marketing behind you. She went on about all the things I didn't have. And all I kept thinking was, but I know I'm doing the right thing. I know I'm doing the right thing. That's all I kept telling myself. And so what I did was I went off regardless because I'm determined. I'm like a terrier. I don't listen to what anybody has to say. And in fact, the more naysayers there are, the more determined I am to prove everybody wrong. So that's what I did. And I opened up my first ever holistic skin clinic in Sydney's eastern suburbs. And that was a huge turnaround for me because I met a beautiful makeup artist and I had no clue she was well known. We just gelled, we connected, and within a year she said, Sharon, I'm going to New York to live. Will you send your lovely products to New York? I said, yeah, sure. And in no time at all, I was getting email addresses and phone numbers of people. And about 6 months later, I got my first ever employee, a girl who wanted to help me with my database and help me get a bit tech savvy because I'm hopeless, still to this day. I still text like this, much to my daughter's disgust, you know. And I went to the post office to post some products, and when I came back, she said, Sharon, you've got Rosie Huntington Whiteley in your database. Wow, how did you get her? And I just said, from Dottie, the makeup artist. Yeah, wow, that's really something. And I just carried on, and she went, you do know who she is, don't you? And I said, yeah, she's a model. Yeah, like one of the world's top models. I went, oh, really? You know? So what can I tell you when you own your own business? 24/7, got a toddler running around. So ignorance is bliss. And then she had a bit of a look, you know, and Maggie Gyllenhaal was in there. Now, I did know she was an actress. I did, but, you know, not quite that bad. But, you know, I really was quite ignorant and naive to the whole thing. Within no time at all, I took her advice and I started traveling twice a year to New York and London. And that's where I got my hands on people. A lot of models who are in and out of makeup, their skin is absolutely ravaged. So that was very much, you know, how it all happened for me. And in London, I met the first ever bloggers. They weren't called influencers then, they were bloggers. And that was a big turning point for me because being tiny, no marketing budget, magazines would hardly write about me. You know, or I'd get a tiny little mention and I'd get the web address wrong, or I'd get the phone number wrong. But yeah, this new wave of a thing called a blogger, that was a whole different thing. And they were independent reviews and the public loved them because they were honest and they were telling the truth. So that was kind of a big turnaround for me. But 20 years later, I still have hardly any stockists. And that's because I am so particular about who represents my brand. I have no backers. I have nobody shouting down my neck about profits and where the profits are. So I'm singing to my own tune still. It's very, very important to me that I get into bed with the right people. I've learnt the hard way. And so I am very, very passionate still about what I do, and I'm very invested in skin health. I was also nicknamed by these two bloggers the No Bullshit Beauty Queen, because what I'm here to talk to you a little bit about tonight before you have question time also is beauty myths. And that was a big deal for me because I bought into the whole thing in the beauty industry. So when I went to my first formulator to find out how somebody could help me make what I thought might be a better cream, because I still didn't trust myself, he said, yeah, you'll need probably 3 cleansers, Sharon, about 5 moisturizers. I went, oh, right, wow, that's a lot. I wasn't really thinking. I was just thinking maybe a few. Yeah, he said, the cleansers are all the same formula. We just put a few different essential oils in and what have you. They're very similar. Some have a bit more water content. With the boxes, you'll put a pink band round the one for sensitive skin and a blue band round the one for mature and a green one for oily combination. I went, oh, right, okay. But you said they're all very similar formula then, and you told me they're called a wash-off product in the industry. So it doesn't really matter what's in there, as long as it gets the makeup off. Yeah, but no, you have to have 3. I said, but you just told me that the one would be fine. He said, no. And this is what really gets my goat as a woman. It was the little pat on the head moment. He said, no, Sharon. Women like to feel special.
Oh. I feel unclean.
I thought, don't react, Sharon, don't react to that one. Right. So we went through the whole thing with the moisturisers, and I said, yeah, so same thing again then? Yeah, but you just put them in. And he said, and then he got really excited. And he said, and of course, you have to have an eye cream, because that's your cash cow. And I said, my cash cow? Yeah, it's your cash cow. You know, it's similar to a facial moisturiser, just a lot more water, maybe some aloe, a few liposomes, whatever. Put it in a tiny little jar and sell it for a highly inflated price. It's a cash cow. And I was supposed to get excited about this. And I went, I've been using jojoba for quite a few years now, and it's pretty damn fantastic. No. You want something that you can say is your own special, unique, special, da. And I thought, here we go again. It's all just the marketing. It's all the marketing. And when he explained to me the difference between Sorbeline cream and a lot of other moisturisers and broke it all down, he shocked me by telling me what the difference in the price was between most of them. That flabbergasted me. That horrified me and shocked me, because right there and then, blatantly, he was telling me it's pretty much the same stuff. It doesn't cost a huge amount between one and the other, but depending how you market it and package it, you can get away with as much as $300 or as little as $10. And again, I was supposed to get excited about that and go, oh, great, where's my positioning with all of this? Where will I sit in all of this? You know, so I worked out pretty quickly what kind of skincare company I was going to have and what kind of person I already, I am and will never ever change. And so I believe, and I still believe to this day, there is a huge market for simplicity and honesty in the beauty industry. And less is more has always been my mantra, because 45 ingredients in a skincare product is completely and utterly unnecessary. Because the more you have, the less there is of each single thing. So my Rose Plus Booster that I've won 5 awards for has 5 ingredients. It's called efficacy, fewer ingredients in higher concentration. That makes something very, very effective. So that's why I've won so many awards for that product, because it's super, super duper concentrated. And it's a very real, honest product. And the interesting thing is, once a very long time ago, when I did talk about potentially having a backer, and she looked at all the costs of my raw materials, she said, this is ridiculous, Sharon. You can't pay this much for raw materials. You just can't. And when I explained why, especially with sensitivity and all the associations I had with naturopaths and nutritionists, I owed it to people who trusted me, who had sensitivity, not to dilute my products, not to cheapen the ingredients, to make sure that I was delivering a quality product and I was being honest about it. That to this day is what drives me to get amazing results and have people come back to me and go, oh my God, Sharon, my skin has completely changed. And I know it's with so few ingredients. We overcomplicate things. The beauty industry overcomplicates things and tells us we need so much more. And when I developed the product, I had a toddler. And the very last thing I needed was to have a very elaborate skincare routine. So right now, I still have about 14 products in the range, 15, no more than that. And I started out with about 12, so I've hardly introduced anything new. It's just very honest and what I believe people need for healthy skin function. So it's, like I say, it's very simple, it's very honest. And I'm a beauty editor's nightmare. Because they love my brand and they say, Sharon, I can't possibly write about you until you produce something new. You've got to produce something new. I can't write about you. It's got to be new. But I formulated everything to be perfect just the way it was, and I formulated it to be so shit hot I wouldn't have to reformulate it. How about that then? I'm not reformulating. I'm not making it big and better because it already was fantastic in the first place. Oh no, that doesn't make for good. No. Just think of something else you might want to do, you might want to add there. You know, so it's just not how I operate. But when that first woman came to me and looked at all my ingredients, she said to me, if we came on board with you and we sold your products now with a distributor in the middle, with the ingredients you use right now, that Rose Plus booster, and these talks I had were in 2004. My Rose Plus booster back then would have sold for nearly $500. Nearly $500 in 2004, based on how most other skincare companies cost. So when I got my first ever budget from my accountant earlier this year, that's 20 years without a budget. He said, yeah, I've survived, doesn't matter. Still making it up as I go along. He said, so what areas are fixed and what is variable and what's whatever? And when he went to the all raw materials, he said, so are they pretty much fixed? I said, no, absolutely not. That is actually the only area we wouldn't ever have a budget on. He said, you have to have a budget on it. I said, no, we don't have a budget on it because I buy the best ingredients and sometimes they cost a lot of money. And if I can't find, you know, something within Australia that's the quality I want, I'll keep moving on and moving on to find out where in the world I can buy that ingredient that's the very best quality. And that means it could be, it's like lavender oil, you can buy it for $60 a kilo, you can buy it for $800 a kilo. So I think what I want to leave you with before I have question time or whatever is something about ingredients in the beauty industry. So that's my standard because I think of skincare like food. So most skincare out there, unfortunately, it's like going to Coles and buying a Sara Lee cheesecake. It's a lot of, you know, processed, refined, cheap ingredients. And so envy, because of how it's made, is like knocking on Nigella Lawson's door one Sunday morning and saying, hey Nigella, you going to come over and make me one of your Victoria sponge cakes or a cheesecake? So envy is still made small batch, very small batch, and it's made with a lot of love and care, and instead of taking less than 1 day to produce, it takes 3 entire days to produce my creams. And only one ingredient is cooked to 80 and all the other plant oils and essential oils go in not even warm but freezing cold. So I break all the rules of manufacture. And my manufacturer who makes my creams, because all of my oils are made and bottled in my lab in Sydney's Northern Beaches, and some of my creams, but I do have a manufacturer who makes my cleansers and my moisturizers and my hand rescue. And she has begged me to go to her bigger machine so many times, and in the end it was like, all right Sharon, we'll just have to buy another smaller machine then now. As soon as you're not going to move over to the bigger one, it's like, you know, because what happens with a bigger machine is they just shove it all in and they cook it all up and they stick a great big homogenizer in it and away you go. And all of those beautiful essential oils I pay a fortune for are bruised and battered, and all of the beautiful plant oils are exposed to high temperatures. So for me, all the antioxidant benefits, the life force rich plant materials have all been compromised. So for me, my product is like a living product. And that's important that I don't sell out and go to that next level, because what do you think will happen when I get a manufacturer, a normal manufacturer who's going to make a big batch? I will never know what they put in my creams. So right now, every single raw material I buy myself. It comes to me in Brookvale. I check it all, it goes to my manufacturer. If I get another manufacturer who does bigger run, that's a massive problem, because most manufacturers will not let you come and smell, touch or feel anything. They won't tell you where they bought the raw materials from. They could buy them from anywhere. And if they have the option of buying lavender oil for $60 a kilo or $800 a kilo, which one do you think they'll buy? Because the more they can make out of each product they make for you, the better. So it's very, very hard for me because, and that's what I've had to gear up for now with my factory in Brookfield, is that if my lovely manufacturers retire, which they probably will do in the next 5 years, everything has to come in-house, because there's probably no other manufacturer in Australia who is prepared to do what I want to do, which is make my products with love and passion and attention to detail in small batches. So yeah, that's me. That's who I am. So yeah, if anybody wants to ask me any questions,